Thank you so much for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. We are a conscious channel to learn about spiritual enlightenment, the law of attraction, self empowerment, and your life's purpose. Please subscribe to our channel by clicking the red button below. If you're tuning in on social media, feel free to visit our YouTube channel, Awakening with Katina Love. Our special guest today is a returning guest, Monica Kenton. She is a dream shaman for life and business. Today, we're going to talk about understanding your soul cycles with numerology. Hello, Monica. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for having me here.
You are welcome. So, we're going to talk about numerology. What is numerology?
So, numerology is another way of, I call it's like a foreign language to understand more about your soul, more about understanding universal energy, yourself. So when we think about like astrology or all these other different ways to understand ourselves, numerology is the same in the sense that it just has a different way of accessing it. So it's stems from Pythagoras, from way back when, that there was an order to the universe, and that order could be mathematically figured out and given energy. So, for example, there are certain numbers that have certain energies to them, and that's what numerology is helping people to understand the numbers, but understanding the energies of it. So understanding the months, what an energy is of a month or a certain year. And then also numerology can get into a person based on their name and their birth date and helping them to understand pieces of themselves as well.
I love it. To me, it's like no, numerology is the language of the universe, it seems like, because
Mm-hmm.
numbers are everywhere. We deal with them, like you were saying before. We deal with them with pretty much everything in our lives, our birth dates, the month, the time, all of that. So, I mean, there's just so many things that are associated with numerology, with numbers.
Yeah, and the thing that I really love about it is I'm not super into math, but this
Hmm.
is really easy in that I mean it's easy to start and to continue to get proficient. And so that's one of the reasons why I really got into it. And when I started to learn about it, I got really excited because it's like, oh, I can start to play with it and start to understand it with, I love people who can do astrology.
Hmm.
But for me to do all of those different things is just way too much. I like to have numbers 1 through 9, a few
Yeah.
other ones, and to
Uh-huh.
work with them. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So, how did you get involved with numerology?
I was taking a bunch of different meditation classes from a teacher, and he taught numerology as well. And I thought, hey, what the heck? I've done so many different classes. I thought, oh, I'll just take this. This will be kind of fun, and it'll give
Hmm.
me a way to understand myself a little bit better. And he had actually done a numerology reading for me before.
Hmm.
And so I took this class, and all of a sudden everything started clicking.
Wow.
And at that moment I just felt so empowered because I could start to understand people. I could start, I could see their name and already start to understand who they were, what they were about. So
Wow.
that's how I got into it. And I became super obsessed with it. And I still am to this day.
That is amazing. Would you like to practice a little
I
bit?
always love to practice or whatever you want to do, hon. That's what this is all about, right?
Okay. Well, you want to do a numerology reading on me?
Yes, I can. So let's start with so there's a couple of things. We can do more talking about, I think what would be the best place to start is
Mhm.
more from that place of the energy of the cycles of what's going on and where you're sitting in it right now.
Okay.
Right? Because I can go deeper into, what's your birth name and
Right.
what's your birth name, what's your name now, how does that work? But that takes a little bit more calculation,
I
right?
see. I see.
Yeah. So what I would need to do for doing, for example, the cycles or understanding the cycles, I would just need the month and day of your birth. And then I could work with the energy
Sure.
of the universal cycle. So what
Sure.
would be your month and your day?
717.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do, in numerology always goes down to the lowest number, right?
Uh-huh.
So for example, 17, I'm going to take 1 plus 7 equals 8, right? I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take that 7 and 8, which is a 15, and I'm going to bring that down as well to this energy of 6. So right now, like I said, everything has an energy. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things I first teach people is understanding what is the energy of what's going on around us, because when we know that, we don't get sucked into all kinds of things, right?
Right.
So the
Right.
energy, we're talking right now in 2019. And so anybody who's listening in 2020 or whatever, you can always add
Yeah.
an extra number, right? But in 2019, I'm going to take all the numbers and I boil it down to one. I boil it down to a single digit, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
3. So this year, 2019, is all about, now remember I was saying that each number has a vibration to it, has different pieces to it. So with this 3 energy, it's all about creativity, creating new things, truth telling,
Yeah.
fun, joy, color, vibrancy, enjoying people, conversation. Fun is super up for people. People are like, I'm too serious, I need to enjoy myself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and so everybody is in this space. So we're all in what we call this universal year, right?
Uh-huh.
Then each of us have a different thing based with our birth date. We're going to add that energy to to the year. So for example, your number was the 6, and then we add the 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 9. So what's happening, energy with numerology goes 1 through 9. And so we
Yeah.
start the beginning, like 1 is like, I'm starting out this whole 9-year cycle. So whatever has been going on for you these past 9 years, you're coming to a completion now with it this year.
That's
And
awesome.
there's completion. You might be feeling like it's like, I got to clean out the clean out the closet. I'm getting rid of stuff,
I've been
clearing out,
doing that.
yeah, clearing out the folders, all of that. And
I've
there's,
been doing all of that.
right. And so when people, and so one of the things with this completion, there's a couple ways that people really work with it. It's also a very big dreamer energy. It's very intuitive. It also is the people who want to be more in shows and performances and those types of things, philanthropy. But it is really this completion. And so for some people, things that they started are finally coming to a completion, or certain things that are no longer serving them are just falling off.
Yeah.
And either way, what happens is if a person doesn't realize they're in this energy, then they're like, why is such and such doing all these really cool things and things are falling apart for me? And
Mm-hmm.
it's just because at the end of a cycle, it needs to shift. So a lot of times when I'm working with people that they're in a 9-year, if there's certain new things that are completely new that they want to start,
Yeah.
I will recommend that they start in the new year when there's more of that fresh energy, but they can start to harvest a lot of
Yeah.
those clues. So there's that energy that's going on. And so you're doing that, this 9 energy during this time of creativity. And so being able to bring those together. And so, each month we can go deeper into each month of, what are we learning, and we pair those together and all of that. So understanding where we are is really pivotal. So that's what I would say as far as with you for this cycle. And then I would look at, I'll just take the first 2 numbers of your birthday, right? So that month piece
Mm-hmm.
is, actually I'll do with your day, because the day of a birth is really important. And so that's that 8 energy. And that is that energy where we spend our birthday energy is a big portion of our life. So
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I would say with yourself is, spirituality, different topics, being very open to all different types of ways of looking at things as a piece of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it is about being a leader, doing your own thing, being original, unique, kind of going out and being the pioneer in things. But
Mm-hmm.
there's also this real power energy. So there's this energy about, at certain moments, there could be those times when it's like go, 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 go. And almost, a person with an 8, and I'm not saying necessarily you,
Yeah.
Katina, but I'm just saying this can happen. A person with an 8 energy could end up just like pushing, 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 pushing to try to make something happen and get super exhausted. And knowing that the 8 energy is really about connecting with the intuition,
Mm-hmm.
then grounding it in an action, and then going back. And so these are the people who can build their own businesses, take charge, uh, you know, have this topics, have the conversations around money, around time, around all of those pieces. And at certain moments can be like, well, I don't understand why people can't talk about money, or I don't understand why people can't do these things, because that's just a piece of who you are. And so power, empowerment, all of those things would
Mm-hmm.
be an important part of a person with that 8 energy.
That
So
is
that's just
awesome.
kind of a little bit of a thing. I don't know if any of that resonates.
Oh, it does. A lot of that. Most of
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
Almost all of it.
yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is that numerology gives us the opportunity to understand a lot of pieces, and then we pick what really resonates with us.
Beautiful. That is amazing. Is there anything else you wanted to share about how you use numerology to help people, or there any other?
So, there are a couple of different ways. So first of all, I teach them to really understand the cycles of what's going on universally, so that they don't get caught in other people's dramas,
Right.
so we don't get caught in all of this other stuff. And then also I help them to understand where they're going, so that they can kind of plot things out. And it also helps them to understand, I work with a lot of business people. And so one of the things, well, and even if you're not a business person,
Right.
to know when, oh yeah, this is a month where in general I'm going to be more quiet. This is a month where I'm really going to go for it. It helps people to kind of plan, because they'll know when their energy is going to be shifting. So there's that piece that I share with people, especially like, oh, if you're going to do a launch during this time and it's this quiet time, making sure to get that quiet time. So I help people to see what things they might need to bring into their life or let go of in their life at certain
Mm-hmm.
moments. And then I also will do the numerology reports, where it is talking about their life. And it gives people the permission, because I talk a lot about, like I just did your birthday, but I would do the birth name, any name a person had since then, what is the name they go by, what's
Mm-hmm.
their business name, and so it talks different parts. What's the inner part of you that you don't share with the personality? And what I find with that is it gives people permission to
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden go, wow, that is so spot on. And I wasn't doing this piece of me, or
Mm-hmm.
I didn't share that power piece of me. And so it gives people the opportunity to see where they're not totally expressing themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and where maybe they can dial it back. And so I find that in and of itself is a huge truth-telling mechanism that gives people the opportunity to say, oh yeah, I'm taking charge, because that's the kind of person I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about your Soul Cycles journal. I you sent me one in the mail, and I absolutely love it.
Yay.
Yes. It has
So
4 parts to it. Is that
it,
four? 4 or 5? 4 parts?
well, it's the calendar.
It's the
So
calendar.
yeah, and I know that you just got it. So that
Yeah.
is so cool. It's what had happened is, so many people they get so excited with me telling them about what their universal year was and what they're here to do, and then they would forget it. And then three months later, they'd say to me, Monica, what was that again? And they'd miss out on all these pieces. So I thought of, how could I devise something that was super simple to use for somebody who knew absolutely nothing about spiritual anything, because I've tried it on people who had no clue about what any spiritual stuff is, as well as people who were really into spirituality and going deeper into understanding new ways of accessing their soul. And I created this Soul Cycles journal where people could see what's the universal energy, what's the personal energy, what's the energy of each month, how does that work, and I devised a system that people could choose their own words from, these words that I have for people, so that they could personalize it. So it wasn't just me saying, this is what it means, because I'm all about people discovering how it works for them, right? So that's what this journal does. And then people use, the other pieces of it are the calendar and being able to work with it. And then I have check-ins and things like that, so that people can little by little start to empower themselves and understand the energy of a day, the energy of the month. Because once people start to work with it in that way, then they can embody it more. And so I got this idea and I decided to create some handmade journals, and that's what you got. It was completely handmade by me and designed by someone, obviously, because that just was not mine. But the content was, and it's been used by a bunch of people who are using it for manifestation, or just understanding how not to get into other people's energy, or to understand themselves better. It's been really fun to see how people are using it, but it empowers people to understand that other language in a way that's super fun. And I'm all about fun.
I love it. It's beautiful. I can't wait to start.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see what happens for you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. So if someone wanted to work with you, can you share your website?
Yes, it is monicakenton.com.
Kenton.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And so people can get on my e-zine there, and I share different things. Like I have some private groups that I run, and those are for people who are on my e-zine. I'll do different talks on numerology or dreaming or other things. But the way to have access is to start with that, and it's a lot of fun. And whatever else is there, if there's something that resonates, super cool. If people are more interested in just learning about different things, then get on the e-zine, and you can have access to more free resources to start to see what it's all about.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and your experience and your wisdom with us once again.
Thank you so much for having me, Katina. You're a lot of fun.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to Awakening with Katina Love. Namaste.